Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. This is Amy Mayer from Fried Technology, and I am here with my colleagues, Brooke
Hey guys, I'm Brooke.
and Jessica.
And hey, I'm Jessica Bell.
And we're so glad you guys are here with us. You will be communicating with Devin in the chat. She is our friend from Google, and she'll be answering the questions that she can in the chat, and then feeding us questions that we need to add to our conversation with you today. And we'll be reserving about the last 10 minutes to go back to questions. So let's get started with the links that you see on the screen right now. If you have your handy dandy Pixel phone, I know it's not the 5 yet, but hopefully soon, then you can go ahead and take a picture of those slides that are in front of you, or you can write down those URLs. You'll be able to get to the slides that we're showing you today. We also brought a chart. So I don't know about you guys, but we have had a lot of conversations around here about, are we going to get this feature if we don't have enterprise? And that's been like a big conversation lately. Do we have this? Are we not seeing it yet because it's not out yet? Or are we not seeing it because we don't have G Suite Enterprise? So this chart, I hope, is going to answer a lot of questions that you guys may have about whether you're going to get features in every one of our webinars that we're going to be presenting to you. We'll be adding to this chart so that you will know whether or not you should see this feature and whether or not it's released yet. So I hope that's really helpful. All right. Also, on every slide you see from now on in the top right-hand corner, you're going to be seeing those URLs that you might need to get to any of these resources. We're obviously, of course, recording this webinar today, and it will be posted at that website that you see in the top right-hand corner of this agenda slide almost as soon as the broadcast ends. So you'll be able to go back and find anything that you want to review. All right, so everybody ready to get started? Because I know time is going to go so fast.
We are ready.
Yes.
Ready? Okay, let's go. All right, I think that my colleague Brooke is going to tell us about host controls.
All right, guys, this is really what everyone has been waiting for, especially when we're talking with our students, is host controls. How do we have some of that digital classroom management for our students? And Google has made it very simple for us. So now when you open up your Google Meet, you're going to see this little shield in the bottom left-hand corner. The only person that's going to see that is the organizer and the owner of that event. So what is it? It's going to be a quick little pop-up chart, and in that little pop-up, you're going to see, what do I have? Quick access is on. That means when it's turned, and I'm not going to go too far into it, Jess is going to panic because I know she's doing that one next. You're going to be able to decide who's going to join your meeting. But the big one that teachers are looking at is, can my participants share their screen, and can they send chat messages? So this is going to be a quick little toggle that teachers can turn on and off that's going to let their students be able to share their screen, or any participant that you're working with. They're going to be able to share their screens without permission, or you can turn on if they're going to be able to send chat messages. And what's really fantastic is I can go in and turn these on and off during the meet, which is going to give them a chance, like, okay, now it's a time for us to chat. Now it's time for us to share our screen. And I think Amy's going to go turn
I can't really hear people out there cheering, but I kind of think I can at the same time. I kind of think people are clapping right now on the other side of this webinar.
I feel like they are. Absolutely.
You should be. If you're not, you should be.
Yeah. So, why is all of this mattering to you? Well, you're going to be able to keep your students on their learning tasks now by turning on and off the chat. I know even when we're working with teachers, sometimes I just want to be like, okay, listen to me for the next 2 minutes. Just give me the next 2 minutes and uninterrupted, right? Let me have that so that you can hear what I'm saying, and then let's chat about it in just a minute. And then you're also going to hear about with the next feature, when we're talking about that quick access. Are we going to be able to let people in our meetings? How are we letting people come in? Have they been invited? And this way, the moderator, the owner, the creator of the event, even if it's from Google Classroom, is going to be able to control who's knocking, who's coming in, who's chatting, who's sharing their screen. They're going to have all of those controls. And I think that limiting those interruptions is going to help everybody in this process.
Yeah, I really think that's a great feature.
Right? We've all been driven crazy by the admit button.
Yes.
Because it interrupts the flow of our meeting when people keep entering, and every single time we have to click admit. So that's That's really going to be amazing. We have 2 minutes. Do you guys want to flip over really quickly and show everybody what these controls actually look like?
Sure.
I think we
All right,
should,
I'm
yeah.
kind of stressed out to do this because I
I
have
have
to
faith
share
in
a
you, Amy.
different screen. So, okay, I hope everybody's been living right. All right. So here we go. You should be in just a second, hopefully soon.
There we go.
There you go. Seeing the actual Google Meet that we are in today. And now you can see here are the host controls right down here in the bottom left-hand corner. And look how simple it is. All you have to do is just turn on and off. When it's off, everybody will have to ask to join. During a period of time, you may just want to let everybody in so you don't have to click admit, admit, admit. And then when it's time for everybody to be listening, there's no screen sharing and there's no chatting right now. We're just going to focus on the speaker, and then you can turn that back on when it is time for everybody to resume. Brooke, is there anything else in there you want me to click on while I'm over here?
No, if you want to, you can also click on that settings where it shows view all host settings. So if you're not clicking on the shield, you can also go in through your settings and find host controls just under your audio and your video.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a couple of questions that I want to bring up as well. So how can teachers just chat with one person without the other student seeing?
That's a great question.
It's a question from one of our participants, and I really, it is a great question, but right now it is just a general chat room, so everybody can see the chat. Now, there are going to be some other features that are coming out that if your school has that ability, you're going to maybe have an option to chat with just one student, but right now the chat, everybody can see it. There's not a private chat.
I would say what we do is we use Google Chat in another window. And so we're often talking to each other, even if there are other folks there who can't hear that or see that part of the conversation.
Mhm.
So I think that's if your school district has that turned on, that's the best answer, I think, for you right now.
Yeah. And then Nathan asked, and this one is a big one. So the teacher will be the host of a meet, even if a student is the first one to join the meeting from the Google Classroom link. And what do we know about that now?
We have tested it, and we know that we have to make it, and we are going to be the host of it no matter who gets there first. So it's not a race.
Yeah, and Amy just also showed when she was showing the Google Meet screen just a second ago, Amy had to go into an account that we originally made that meet in, even though the three of us are in the same domain and we were invited and we were able to open the link. Amy had to go in order to see those host controls. So it is whoever is the owner and creator of that Meet link. So the teacher in the Meet link for Google Classroom.
Well, we're 1 minute over this section, but I have to say, I won't tell you how to do it today, but if you want to know, I guess you can ask us on Twitter. We also did figure out that you can actually change the owner of a calendar event, which will change the owner of the meeting. So like, for example, I wasn't at work one day and Brooke had to do a meeting for me, and it was super stressful for her because she didn't have the controls. And then we investigated and figured out that you can do that. So just know. You can do it. All right, Jess, I think you're going to tell us about another incredibly exciting feature, and I love the name of it.
I do too. It's called Knock Block. And even though there's no actual knocking happening, have you ever been on a meeting and you had to ask to be entered or admitted into the meeting?
Yes.
Right. So somebody sends you the link and you enter and it's like you have to wait for someone to admit you. Well, that's the knock. When you have to wait to be admitted, that's the knock. And what's really interesting is that sometimes when you're running a meeting, if people are knocking, you're getting lots of pop-ups. So-and-so needs to be entered into the meeting. Admit them, don't deny, or deny them. The knock block makes it so that if you say, oh, Brooke is not supposed to be in this class right now, nope, deny. If Brooke tries to get in again the second time and I say deny, what happens when Brooke does it a third time? She's going to see a screen just like the one that Amy's sad face is seeing right now on the screen. It says, you cannot join this call. Someone has denied you entrance. So it is kind of a measure for a teacher or a host of a meeting to be able to control which participants are in the meeting or not. So I can think of lots of reasons why I might want this, but here's the really cool thing. Let's say I Brooke is trying to access our class meeting today, and she's tried 3 times or 2 times, and it looks like it's coming from Amy instead of Brooke. Maybe Brooke's using Amy's computer at home and she didn't realize she was logged in incorrectly. Well, if I have that, if I find that out as the teacher, I can still go in and say, okay, let me enter that student. I can manually type in that student's login and let that person in the meeting. So it is possible, even if you lock them out, that you can still manually allow them in later. So I can think of a lot of different classroom management reasons this would be helpful. I know we have a lot of feedback from teachers saying this is kind of a challenge for them whenever they've had a student who can't participate be removed from a meeting and come back. But that brings me to my next point, if you want to switch to the next slide.
Sure.
So thank you. So the next part of that feature that I think is pretty handy is that let's say that Amy and Brooke and I are all in a call, and Amy and Brooke are my students, and Amy just keeps saying things or acting inappropriately or sharing things when she's not supposed to, because that's probably the kid in my class who would do
that's
right?
what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's just
exactly.
be honest. Yeah.
But if she is, and I'm like, you know what, we have already had conversations about this, and today I just can't continue to disrupt class today. So
Up
Amy,
with this, I cannot put.
Yes, up with this, I can. I can remove Amy. I can go to my people tab in my call and I can remove her. And when I remove her, she cannot re-enter the meeting. So I think that's pretty cool. So not only are we denying people entrance who we don't want in the meeting, but now if we have participants who are in the meeting who shouldn't be there and we remove them, they can't automatically get back in.
It's
so that's
really
really
the classroom management tool you always wanted. I mean, let's just be
Yes.
honest.
yes, in real life. I taught middle school, and sometimes I was like, I need you to just move away from me right this second.
Right. It has to happen.
You're squirrely today. Yes. So I think this is pretty handy. Do you want to look at this on the Meet itself? How this feature might look?
If you think we have time, I am feeling more and more confident that I can make this happen for you.
I think you can do it. Let's just see.
Okay. All right. Let's try again. The little tiny delay, it gives me a little mini heart attack every time I try to do it. But you'll see it in just a second. I feel good about this now. All right.
So
There
Amy,
we
if you
go.
want to toggle off the quick access so that we all have to be entered into the meeting.
Is that what you want me to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to try to rejoin the meeting. Let's see if I can. I think I was already in the meeting, so I can't rejoin it.
Mute.
Oh, yep. Mayday. Well, okay. So she turned off quick access. And so anybody who joins our meeting after this is we're going to see a pop-up that says, Jessica would like to join your meeting. And Amy's going to have a pop-up that says, admit or deny. She might hit admit, she might hit deny if she's feeling real devious in the day. But if she does that 2 times, then I'm not going to be able to any longer join that meeting. But Amy, if you go to go ahead.
Only when that's off, right? Only when it's set like we're looking at it right now.
Right. Or if I
Okay.
send a link to people that I haven't added to a calendar event or who are not in my Google Classroom.
Okay.
So if you click the People tab in your browser or in your Meet at the top, right there's the People tab, so you can see who's in your meeting. And if you want to add a person, like maybe you denied me twice, but now you want me to join, you can type in my email address here, and I would get notification that I've been allowed to come back to the meeting. So I'll be able to
maybe
join.
you've learned your lesson. We're going to let you back in.
Yes. On the same side of that coin, on that same menu, you can X out of that add people menu. On the people menu where you see your participants, if you hover over a participant, Amy, like Brooke, for instance, and you use the drop down, you can remove Brooke from the meeting using that little circle icon. And then once you've removed Brooke, when she tries to rejoin, she's also going to be locked out of the meeting until you admit her.
I'm not going to do that. It doesn't seem like the right thing to do.
I have
The net
some,
result.
I have some questions.
Okay.
Okay.
If we are trying to have a meeting with parents, can parents join a meet that a school sets up without a Google account? I thought Amy was going to answer.
You asked that like you already knew the answer. Now I'm waiting to find out.
Usually you are always the first one to answer, so I was ready. So yeah, so as long as someone has the meeting link, they can get into the meet. And again, you're going to get that little pop-up that asks and tells you who's trying to come into the meeting, and then you'll be able to deny or admit into your meeting.
Yes.
And then our second question is, will the students be kept out forever or just during that session if a teacher keeps using the same link each day? And I think Jess kind of covered that the same way with if you have denied a student and you're using that same link, then you're going to have to re-invite that student by adding people through the Meet link.
Yeah, because
Yes.
it's really controlling that one meet. So that was a good little caveat that person added there. If you keep using that same meeting.
Same link.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Looks like we've answered those questions, and I think we're ready to move to the next topic.
I think we are.
Which
It's me, isn't it?
it
It is.
is
It's
you.
me. It's me because it's background blur. And I have this awesome background back here that I never want to blur. Those are real typewriters. But if I ever did want to, or maybe my background is not as awesome as my background happens to be, or I have to work from home one day and not from the office, then I might want to turn on background blur. And this is really cool. It's there now. Our other colleague, Elizabeth, and I were having a meeting with someone just yesterday, and we're like, Kim, turn on your camera. We can't see you. I haven't seen you in such a long time. And she said, I can't. I just can't, y'all. It's so bad. This is my daughter's sale room. Like she runs an Etsy store or something like that. I just can't let you see this. I said, we have background blur. And she's like, that's not out yet. I said, yes, it is. We have it. Let me show you. And so she turned it on and I got to see my friend and it was really great. So that's what it looks like. That was just me yesterday. And it's the same background. You can see back there, that yellow typewriter kind of peeking through there.
Those typewriters are actually a distraction, Amy. They are actually the
Yes.
first thing most people comment on for the first 5 minutes of every meet.
They
This
are. I
is
feel
true.
like if my hair doesn't turn out well one day, we can focus on the typewriters. It's just great. Love it. Love it like that. So why does it matter? And I like this question, and I like that we answered this question about every tool, because sometimes a new thing comes out and I have to ask people like, why does that matter to you? I can see you're happy. Why does this matter to you? So it really is great for kids because, kids aren't in control of what's going on behind them in their house. And I think we probably all read and heard horror stories about, what people have ended up seeing in the background, brothers who are shirtless or whatever, things can happen back there. So you can turn on that blur and it really wipes out everything. All you can see is just kind of some muted colors. So it's great for education because, hopefully this is going to let us see our students more and let them feel more comfortable being seen in their environment. You can actually turn it on before you go into the meet too, which is really nice because maybe I don't want to wait until you're already looking at my background. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just a nosy person, but y'all can tell me if you're nosy like this too. Anytime I'm in a meet with somebody, I'm always like examining like what's back there. Or do y'all do that too, or is it just me?
I'm definitely looking back there for
There's
sure.
been some times. There's been some times.
Yeah. Yeah, like the lady who turned around during a meet and her husband asked her, they can't see me right now, can they? And she said, no, they can't see you. And we're like, yes, we can see you.
Yeah.
Put your clothes on, we can see you. So yeah, anyway, background blur, very important. So here's how you use it and turn it on. It's really, really simple. You just go to we call those three little dots in the bottom corner, in this case, hot dogs. And you just click on those little hot dogs and then you just click on turn on background blur and it automatically blurs out everything back there. So that's it. It's pretty simple. You see how they gave me the easy job. I really appreciate that, y'all.
Well, the thing is, you can't really adjust how blurry or how unblurry it might be. So what you see on Amy's screen is a good representation right now of how much it will blur what's in the background. So I think that's a great little feature as well.
It's
Pretty
quite
unidentifiable.
blurry. Yeah, you're not going to be able to make out what that is in the background for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Do we have any questions about that? I'm thinking probably no, but
not official questions. I think they're commenting with each other in the comments and they seem to be going well.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad everyone's feeling happy today.
Oh, wait. Yeah,
Oops.
it's all good. Nope, you're good. You're good.
We're good? Okay. All right. And I think Brooke is going to talk to us about the new view.
So here is the great screenshot creator of all time. So we're all used to getting together to take selfies, and when we're person to person, face to face, and now we can go back to that regular life in our meets. So you can now see up to 49 people at the same time, including yourself. So that means you can put yourself in here, and it's very simple to use. You're going to click those same three dots that Amy was referring to a few minutes ago, and you're going to be able to see a layout option. So why is this great that you can see all of these faces? And these are our faces of our Fry Technology team that we just did last week when we were working with the tile view, and we were happy to have us all in there. But when you get in there, why is this important? Not only for teachers to be able to see themselves, but I like to be able to see reactions. I want to see their faces because even if they're not in chat, sometimes I know they may be laughing, but they're on mute, or they're clapping, or they're rolling their eyes at me. Like, I need to see the reactions when I'm trying to have a conversation. It's not as much fun, and I don't feel like I'm connected to them. So this is a way to kind of bring in that connection. And nobody worry, I'm not going to go too off topic with like love languages or checking in, social emotional learning. We all know that's my jam. But with our students who are in the digital space, this is going to be a great way to get to see more of them all at one time and let them allow them to see each other. And then for those who absolutely need to see yourself in there, add yourself. And Amy, I'm not calling you out, but you were so excited when you finally figured this little button out the other day.
I was excited because I could remove myself, because I find seeing myself very distracting. Like,
yeah, because you move around and
Yeah.
it does distract, because I'm like, oh man, let me fix that hair, or let me, so you can add yourself or remove yourself if you have accidentally already added yourself. So there is a little button. And Amy, are you going to go back live? Do we have time to see our meet?
I think we do.
I am happy to do that. I'm
Okay.
happy to show you how I remove myself now, because it really was a life-changing day when I figured out that I could do that.
Well, and one of the best parts of it was that I didn't realize that you had that toggled on and were seeing yourself.
Right.
And so when she was talking about it, I was like, what are we? And yeah, it was one of those, we love those conversations when we get together and realize that we're all living in different worlds in the same domain.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And sometimes have different features, and that's fun too. Yeah. So right up here at the top right is where I go, right, Brooke?
Yes, you're correct. That little 4 square with the line through it. And once you click off of that, now I'm the only one back in view. Click it again. Now you can add yourself. Yeah.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, just look at my face, nice and up there and in view.
I guess I could turn on my background blur now too. And you could see that maybe, possibly.
So what if you can't see all of this?
Whoops, mute.
I keep doing that. I'm so sorry.
Well, there's my background, blur, as you can see. If I move really fast, you might be able to see behind me a little bit, but not
So
much.
what happens if I have more than, let's say I have 10 students on right now, but I can only see 8 of them? What would be one thing I could do to troubleshoot how many I'm seeing in my grid?
So Amy's going to go down to her grid down here at the bottom, the 3 dots. And we're going to go to our layout, change layout. And then she has to click on tiled, and then down here at the bottom, she's got a slider, and she can move that slider so that she can see all of her students.
Nice. So I can really change the number of people who are visible to me at a time.
Right, up to 49.
Awesome.
And I know there's already been some conversation about how are they in like alphabetically? Are they in? And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the algorithm is for putting those faces in and how they're popping up. As I've seen and have experienced in meets, it seems to be pretty random, because sometimes they kind of move around. And I think maybe if they turn their video off and turn it back on, then they pop in a different place at a different time. So that's there. We do have one question. Can more than one teacher act as the moderator? And from what I know, the answer is no. There's only one moderator, one host control.
I agree.
Yeah.
One person only sees that, and it's whoever owns that meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, great. Do we have anything else about this feature? We kind of looked at how to use it.
I would say we do have, okay, I saw this question too. Anyway, the teacher can use tile layout while also presenting their screen. Those teachers who use a second device to see their remote students need this tiled layout. I have not specifically played with that to see the tile layout, but I believe everyone has the tile layout. So if you're joining from a second account, you should be able to tile in one and see your screen on the moderator host control. That should not be a problem, because I know Jess has changed her tile view when I've only been looking at just myself. So it should work with that second account, or just logging in twice on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely think that'll work. That's a great idea. Yep. All right. We're almost finished, but the most important part is now, and that is answering your questions. So you guys throw them at us, and we'll do our best to answer them. I'm going to flip back over to the Meet, and then I'll come back here and give you this URL again. But I'm going to share the Meet again, presuming that you guys may have questions about some of these tools we've shown you today, most of which focus around Meet.
And guys, make sure you check out the list of webinars that are coming up, because I see some questions about some of the other Meet tools, and we are going to have webinars specific to those. So please make sure you register for those who want to know a little bit more about breakout rooms and some of the other options that are coming up. Check out the list and register for those webinars, because we'll just be focusing on those tools during those.
Yep, these are little tiny topics, so we're really going to be able to go deep.
Can you repeat how students can knock if kicked out?
So when the student is kicked out of the Meet, when they try to rejoin with the same link they joined the first time, that's the knock. So they don't have to do anything special to knock. They just have to try to rejoin the meeting, and that's considered that knock. So they don't have to have any special steps or anything like that. Just whatever link they tried to join with the first time would be the same link they would try to join with the second time.
Right.
I think that explains that. Yeah.
We have a request to demo how to turn on the background blur one more time.
Oh, sure thing. So you go right down here in the bottom right to the hot dogs. And then here's the setting right here, turn on background blur. And then you just give it, you can also do this before it starts too, though. So I had to give it a, I don't know, it takes, a couple of seconds to come on, but you can do that before your meeting even starts if you want. And you'll see that now on the initial screen that you see, like where you normally are adjusting your sound and all that kind of stuff, that background blur option will be there too.
Yes.
All right.
So there's
just
a question
remember
that we just saw. Oh, go ahead, Brooke.
Right. Just remember that background blur, it's slowly rolling out. So just be patient. Those things are releasing. And sometimes it is true that some people in domain see things before the other people. That happens to us here at Fried Technology too.
I know. I always get the early access.
Yeah. For some reason, Jess has a gold star account. I got to figure out how to remove that. She goes, so it does happen, but it's all rolling out, and you're going to see it very soon.
So what's the max number of students you can see if you're presenting on your screen?
I think it's 49. Let's go look.
49 is the tiled max for sure. And if I'm presenting, I don't have to see my present screen. So if you're doing that, I think it shows 3 rows. Last week when I was on a Meet and had these features and I was presenting and it showed you are presenting at the top, I could see up to 3 rows of students, but I can't remember exactly how many students across the bottom it was. I want to say it may have been at like 16 students.
Okay. All right. So if you had a Meet and you wanted to be able to see all of your students, but then you also wanted to see your presentation that you're presenting when you're sharing screen, I know what I would do, but what would you guys do to make sure you can see all your students and still see your presentation material? If you don't have 2 monitors, what would you do?
I would just put my windows side by side.
That's what I would do too. I would just make my windows half my screen and half my screen, have my presentation material on one all by itself and all my students on the Meet on the other, and I would be able to see both.
And on Amazon Prime Day, I would buy another monitor. October 12th and 13th, I've heard.
We're just a little looking forward to that, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right.
If you use join codes on the Google Meet website, who is the moderator of the Meet? The first teacher to join the Google Meet?
The answer to that is whoever created the Meet to start with is the owner and moderator of the Meet. Like I use the word moderator in my mind to imagine the person who's handling the chat and who's kind of like making sure the students are doing what they do. That can be anybody. But the owner of the Meet, the person who actually generated the meeting to get started with, that person is technically the host of the meeting. And that's the person who regains all the controls of that meeting.
So if I make the calendar event and that's where the Meet link came from, I own it. If I open up chat in Gmail and I make the Meet link from there, I own it. If I am the teacher in the Google Classroom and I turn on the Meet link from there, I own it. Right?
Gotcha. Yes.
Is there any other way for me to own it?
If you go to meet.google.com and you start a Google Meet there and you use a nickname or something and you send that link to students, you are the host and the owner of that meeting. Even if another adult or another teacher joins that meeting and does all the talking, you're still the owner.
Yep. And only you are going to see that special little shield down there that gives you those controls.
Yes.
Amy, you want to share your screen again for the link that they need to register for the next upcoming webinars?
I actually already anticipated you would ask that
Oh, well,
and had
yay.
it all ready to go. So yeah, there we are. So we really want you guys to keep joining us for these webinars. I sincerely hope you've had a good time today and learned some new things. And we'd love for you to sign up and attend all of the webinars that we're doing throughout the next couple of months. And there is your short URL to do that. And that's where you're going to get all of the stuff that you need to be a part of these in an ongoing way. So I think that is really a wrap for us today. And we so appreciate you guys being here. Anybody have any final words?
We'll see you next time.
Where are the recordings going to be, Amy?
Oh, good question. Let's go back one more time in case you didn't write it down. They're going to be up there at that website in the top right-hand corner where it's goo.gle/G Suite-training. And that's where you'll find the recording and really everything else you need.
Great.
All right, we all good here?
We're
I
good.
think so.
Okay, well, thanks everybody. Have a good afternoon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.